College Game Day getting the biggest transfer portal acquisition, I think, of this entire portal cycle. Now, Alabama's portal window closes tomorrow night, but Nick Saban is headed to College Game Day. All right, now College Game Day for us as college football fans is how we start our college football Saturdays, right? Like this is, I believe, as important in some respects to a college football Saturday as the game's actually being played. When you see Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and now Pat McAfee on your TV, you know there's about to be some football being played. And so this isn't wildly surprising that Nick Saban is joining College Game Day, because there was a report that came out in 2022 that after the Kick 6 game where Alabama lost to Auburn, Nick Saban at least entertained the idea of moving to ESPN, and more specifically the idea of joining College Game Day. And obviously with Nick Saban being who he is, College Game Day would be a tremendous fit for him. But I want to make sure we say this. This is a massive win for the college football community. Massive win. One, this is going to be elite television. Okay, because when you think about it, college football coaches at the very core of what they do as jobs, not factoring in NIL, not factoring in the transfer portal, they are motivators and they are teachers, right? Nick Saban, I don't think there's a question, is the greatest college football head coach of all time. The numbers and the trophies indicate as much. So with that being the case, we can assume then pretty fairly that Nick Saban is one of the greatest teachers, one of the greatest motivators of all time. And now we get him talking college football to us every fall Saturday for 3-ish hours. That's going to be awesome. Also, it's worth noting, I think Saban is actually pretty freaking hilarious. Like during those little those press conferences, he's had some good quips, like the whole "y'all fed us some rat poison and it was actually pretty yummy this week." That was a bar. Talking about you should see the other guy when he showed up to a press conference with his face a little bit beat up from, I don't know what it was, but I just thought he's got a great personality for television, and I think we're going to get to see more of that when he joins Game Day. And we also get him, I think, totally peeling the curtain back too. Like I don't think it's a thing where Nick Saban's going to be guarded and try and, be too cautious with the things that he says. Like at this point, this is now Nick Saban's job. Andy Staples said as much on his show last night. Like some coaches get into television with the idea they're eventually going to get back to coaching, so they kind of try and, walk lightly around some topics. I don't think that's Nick Saban. I think he's going to let it rip, and I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Also, it makes all the sense in the world just from a what you would expect from Nick Saban point of view. And I don't mean from Nick Saban taking a College Game Day job. I mean like Nick Saban is an elite person, period. That's how he lives his life. That's the way that he goes about his business, whether it be from a coaching standpoint and now from a broadcasting standpoint. But we get this, like, elite people, they only really have one speed. There's only really one way that Nick Saban knows how to do things, and that's at the highest level. That's what Nick Saban's walking into here at College Game Day. Nick Saban isn't going out and taking a halftime show job. And Nick Saban's not going to drop in on College Football Live for a little 5-minute hit and call that his broadcasting career. Nick Saban is attacking the college football staple that is College Game Day, that is a tradition to all of us in the college football world, and he's going to attack it full speed, head on. And I can't wait for it. So in that sense, it makes a ton of sense, and I think it's going to make a ton of great television. Also, I love this for College Game Day. Like, I'll put my hand up and be the first one to say I'm a College Game Day stan. I was before I got into this business. I have been since I've gotten into this business. I remember my earliest memories as a kid, before Pop Warner football games. Those games were always absurdly early for whatever reason. I feel like they were like a 10 a.m. kick. Regardless, I would get up early because I couldn't sleep being in grade school and knowing I had a game in a few hours. So I would walk downstairs, prop myself on the couch on that Saturday morning and watch College Game Day, and that was my first introduction into college football. Like this is a part of all of us now. So the desk now, people have kind of talked about it's lost its fastball and big noon's kind of catching up. Like if that was ever the case, not going to be the case anymore, especially with Nick Saban joining the desk. So you got Desmond Howard doing his thing. You got Reese Davis, who I think is the best host in television, regardless of sports or otherwise. You got Kirk Herbstreit, who's the greatest of all time when it comes to college football analysts. You got Pat McAfee bringing absurd juice for the entire desk. You got Lee Corso, the icon of the headgear. And now you put the greatest of all time from the college football head coaching standpoint, Nick Saban on that desk, like it's a wrap. Game, set, match. Okay, that's going to be must-see TV each and every week. Here's what I'm curious about, too. If Nick Saban gets to a position where, like, it's obvious, hey, Bama's not the pick here. Let's say Bama's lining up against Georgia in September and Bama's had a lackluster start. Not saying they lost some games, but saying they just don't look like the team to pick. Is Nick Saban going to pick against Alabama? Is that going to be a thing that we see at some point in time here in the near future? Because that in itself would be a storyline, I think. It would be kind of wild to see. So that's going to be compromising in some sense, I have to believe, for Nick Saban to have to be against his former team with guys that he still knows on that roster. Also, there was this thought that, and this is going down the rabbit hole too much, so I don't want to go too far this direction, but there was this thought for a while there. Not this thought for a while. I'll rephrase that. James Cook, former running back at the University of Georgia, now with Buffalo Bills, was quoted saying he believes that ESPN put Bama in the playoff because they knew Nick Saban was retiring. Again, conspiracy theory. It's not that deep. It never was that deep. Regardless, we move on. But if that was the case, if there was some kind of agenda because they knew Nick Saban was retiring, why would they not leave them out and then allow him to make this announcement earlier and get this deal done earlier and allow him to start? Heck, you could have made him on the College Game Day crew for New Year's Day. Heck, you could have put him on the College Game Day set for the national championship game or something like that. You could have maybe expedited this thing along and maybe gotten a little bit more practice, a little more reps under your belt. Regardless, I just think that's another narrative buster when it comes to the college football rumor mill. But Nick Saban joining Game Day will be cinema. I think it's great for the game. I think it's great for the college football community from the product we'll get. And as a College Game Day stand, the Game Day fastball has gone absolutely nowhere. So that's going to be awesome. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.